Okay, guys, so today our guest is Megan Moss. And
Hey, Megan!
Thank you for sitting with us. I know that you are completely comfortable in front of a camera,
Yeah.
so I appreciate it. But she is talking about working your database. And so, Megan, will you tell us a little bit about what you did before real estate? Because I know that you have been
I did nothing.
with the company for a long time. When did you start with Remax answering phones?
I was 16.
Yeah, she was a
Yes.
baby.
I walked in and asked Maureen if I could have a job. She was like, "Did you see the ad?" I'm like, "Nope. I just wanted to work here." And so I worked on Saturdays from 9 to 4 and Sundays from 1 to 4 every weekend.
How long did that last?
When I as soon as I turned 16 until I left for college. And actually, the first person I was an assistant for was kind of an accident. I'd never babysat in my life. I'm not really about kids. Monica DeMore at the time was on Sally Bundy's team. So before I left for college, she was like, "Can you watch my kids for 2 weeks?" I was like, "Okay." And I'm still learning how to say no to people. And so I raided my parents' quarter drawer, and I took them to Fuddruckers every day because they had games and stuff. Anyway, we did that for a week, and then thankfully, while I was not watching them, one of the boys had a brain aneurysm and almost died, but he's fine. He's doing great. And so anyway, we got to switch. So I got to be Sally Bundy's assistant. She got to watch her kids. And so the first listing I ever put in the MLS was for Sally Bundy. It was the corner house on Ridgeland in North Circuit. I always remember that.
That's awesome. So how long were you an assistant for Sally?
Just a week or two until Monica came back.
Yeah. Okay, what did you go to college for?
I got a degree in real estate and economics.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize you got your degree in real estate too. And
Yes.
that was at Baylor? Right?
Yes, they
Okay.
have a real estate program. It's very short, so I was able to double major.
So did you know that you wanted to do real estate from the time that you were a teenager? Or was
Uh-huh.
it? Really?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I would equate it to people that started a year or two ago. Just money. My first, y'all, it was called Lead Street back then, but now it's your Remax leads. It was my first, it was a listing and a sale, y'all.
Your first?
I got my license
Lead?
June 30th. Yes,
Wow.
I got this lead in July probably. We closed on Double Bubble in August.
You're
I had to go out and buy a new car. She wanted to ride with me. I drove a Mustang. Had to sell, so I drive to CarMax in Irving, sell the Mustang, buy this ugly Buick thing. But I made money on that thing when I sold it. But anyway, Granny Mobile, and
Dependable.
so dependable, comfortable. Yes. I don't know how I didn't get sued or kill us. She rode with me and her kid. I'm like, oh my God. So back then, we didn't have GPS on your phone, or even I didn't have one of those guys, a Garmin thing. So you go to the office and they have these huge books. It was a Mapsco book is what they call it. It's a ring binder thing, and you highlight the house and how you're gonna get there, and you go make a copy of it, and then you've got all these papers, and so they're in my lap, and I got the kid in the background, and I'm driving this huge car, and I'm hitting curbs, but she stuck with me, man. We're still friends on Facebook. And her husband has passed away, her kids are married, we're just, I'm thank you for sticking with me. She was my first deal. But anyway, then the market crashed, and so it's kind of now where it's slowing down, and people that just started a couple years ago are like, oh my God, what do I do now? So I was broke as a joke. I was waiting tables, and
You're still in Irving?
my who?
Your renter.
Well, that was the very last minute. Yes, still in Irving, waiting tables, get my tip money and go to the Chase, and I'm sticking the dollar bills in there, and they're blowing away. I'm chasing dollar. It was oh my gosh. But I'm I'm not giving up. So anyway, yes, I did end up renting out my couch for $150 a
Your
month.
couch?
Oh yeah, it was a sofa bed from 1980.
Failure was not an option.
No.
Right.
I love it.
And I cleaned out my coat closet, and he hung 4 items in there, I guess. He waited tables where I did. Everybody was like, are y'all dating? I'm no, he's living on my couch.
Yeah, but it's got a deposit down, so it works.
Totally
So-
economic.
Yeah.
Yes. So anyway, about the time I was like, I am gonna have to sell like some body parts. Taryn like reached out and was like, oh, her longtime assistant Holly was leaving, and she was like, when are you coming back? And I was like, oh, I might have to sooner than later because I have no money. And I really didn't want to, but you know, alas. So I came back, and so that was January 2010. So now I've been back way longer than I was gone, so it kind of feels like I never left. And so I worked for Taryn again for a while till I met my ex-husband, and he decided I wasn't making enough money there. So he got me a job with Ann Skog.
So having had experience in Dallas, you sold a little bit there whenever you were there as well?
Yes, I'm not
And
sure
then-
how I didn't get sued. I really don't know how people move to a city they have no clue about and don't get sued. I mean, thank you, Jesus, because I didn't know anything about anything up there about school districts. I mean, it was all just people had to tell me I want to be in this school district. I didn't know what was good or bad. I mean,
Do you feel like that has influenced, because you're somebody that goes deep on education and things now and learning, is that anything that influenced you once you moved back down here, or is that something you always just like doing?
I mean, I always like doing it. I love school and classes and everything. But yeah, I think I'm just like, I'm really shocked now that I moved back. I'm like, it was so much harder there because I didn't know what I was selling. Like when you don't know your product, like, I mean, and I've just learned a lot too. I mean,
Yeah.
I was new and
Experience, yeah.
in a new place. Like it was
Yeah.
just a recipe for disaster. But I mean, I think I did fairly well for what it was.
Consider-
But I would never recommend that to anyone. But
You said that your first client is still Facebook friends with you.
Yeah.
So did you start adding people to your database even in Dallas that you
Yeah.
still have in your database, or no? I mean, like, you
yeah,
still
I
look at them as
mean, I
possible?
don't like spam mail people in Dallas anymore. But
You used to.
oh yeah,
Once
yeah.
upon a time.
But no, but I keep up with them on Facebook.
Yeah.
Obviously, I mean, you never know. She could have
Absolutely.
somebody that's moving down here. Or I could have, you know. So, yeah, I try to keep in touch with everybody.
So at what point did you start forming your database, and who influenced you most in the way that you're doing it now? Was it something that Sally taught you, or one of them that you first were with?
I know I had it in Dallas because I started doing mail outs when I lived in Dallas. Like as soon as I moved up there, everybody I knew, I'm like, hey, I just got my license. Like just got it yesterday, and call me. But it was so I started it then, and it was just kind of an Excel spreadsheet. I really don't know, you know, but I know that's
You just knew
really
it was
what I
something.
got it from. I had addresses from my graduation invitations, and
That
you know
makes
my
sense.
grandma had put all the people that needed to be on the list were on the list, and so that's where my database started. If we're being honest,
Yeah.
was from that.
I love
And then I just have been updating it and tweaking it all this time.
Yeah.
And I still have some people that are on there, how she put them. And I don't know some of their first names because it was Dr. and Mrs. blah, blah, blah. I
Yeah.
mean, could not tell you some of their first names. But that's ones I know Mimi put because that's how they still are in my database.
Make an appraisal district of and try to find their first names.
I mean, I probably could, but now that I've been sending it them
Yeah.
stuff for 10, 15 years like
Yeah.
that, like I'm just going to roll with it.
Yeah, I'm
so.
sure every doctor just likes to be addressed as
Yeah.
doctor. They do typically.
We
Yeah.
prefer it.
So how frequently do you update your database, or maybe even cull it?
I mean, I try to do it, not daily, but like if I'm in church and I hear somebody died or moved away, I'm going to take them off, you know? So now I have it on Google Drive, and so I can get it on my phone or wherever. So I try to do it like instantly
Yeah,
because
you're
if I
conscious.
wait, like I'm going to forget. But anytime I do a big mail out, I'll get tons back, you know, that are wrong or because I used to mail to all my little court. I did these apartment tours for ExxonMobil for a long time, and they probably haven't lived in those apartments in 10 years. But so eventually they stop going through, and then I'll get them, and so then I'll go through again, and then I always do a big clean out at Christmas because Christmas I handwrite most of them. cards. And so that's when I really take the time and sit down and go through JCAT and make sure they're still there, you know, and just do a real thorough.
If they come back, is it something that you typically follow up with on a phone call to check with them, or does it kind of depend on who they are?
It depends on who it is. I mean, if it's one of those court kids, they're probably in another city. Or they bought something with a relocation. I mean, it's fine. Like, but if it's somebody, I mean, I don't think I've gotten one back that I'm like, oh, it surprised me. You know what I mean? Like, if I did, I'd be like, oh, that's weird. Now, one time I did, and I just had to like transpose the numbers. So, I mean, I'll fix it or whatever. But usually it's people that also, I'll say, Dana at some point made me add the whole church directory. And so I don't know some of those people. So again, it doesn't bother me if it comes back because I don't actually have a relationship with them. Like her mindset was they know who you are because you sing on the stage, you know. And I'm like, that's not necessarily true. Like, and so anyway, so there are some people on there I would love to pare it down. It got a little out of control when that happened. I'll say that. So I want to pare it down more. But yes.
So speaking of church stuff, because whenever I joined the church, of course I show up and I'm like, oh great, Megan and Dana, I was going to my church, scored. But you are very involved with the church and with different community activities. Is that something that you always knew to do, or did somebody kind of lead you into doing that kind of thing, or being that involved, and how has that benefited your business? Because you are, I mean, you're in a lot of different things.
She can't say no.
Yeah, is that it?
That's part of it, yeah. No, I think my grandma, I mean, she worked in the chamber for like 30 years. And so, I mean, I'd been around that forever. And then when I moved back to town, I mean, it was weird. I feel like I was only technically gone for 4 years, but it was more like 8. But, I mean, I just lost touch with everybody, you know? Like, I felt like I didn't know anybody here. And it was so weird. So I joined Junior League to like meet people, and I didn't really meet anyone. I met Lauren, and like my last year. But I like to volunteer, and I started doing that in Dallas because I'm like, I don't have any money, but I have a lot of free time. So, like I went to a conference one time and they were, you know, asking for money or volunteers or help with this or help with this, and I'm like, I just wrote on the card, I'm like, I have no money, I have an abundance of time, like, let me know. And so I drove out to this one place that they did mission trips. I'm like, I can't go, I don't have any money. So what I did is I sat at a computer for them all day and input their mission trip opportunities. And then Right Now Media, who, like, everybody knows who they are now, like every church uses their stuff, I would drive out there and do like office stuff for them because they're out filming Bible study, you know. And so I just learned to volunteer because I had time, really. I guess.
Have you seen a benefit from being that involved in your business at all, or do you?
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot more people than I otherwise would, obviously.
And so when you form those relationships from being involved in those activities, did they automatically go in your database too, typically?
No, not necessarily. Like, I try not to like spam people. Like, I mean, there's a girl, so like I know her from high school. I could have easily looked up her address on JCAT and added her, but I didn't because I don't want to creep people out. But I purchased something from her Etsy shop or whatever, and I picked it up on her front porch. So after I had gone to her home, I'm like, okay, well, I've been to your home. Now I know where you live. So I'm going to put it, you know, so I try to do stuff like that. Like, if I've sent somebody, you know, a sympathy card or something that for some other reason, if I've found their address for something, then I will add it. Like, I don't just go add people because I don't know if that's making sense, but there are several people that I know that I don't have on my list. I don't know if that's making sense. But
well, it is, and I like also that you're looking at ways to even people that aren't necessarily in your database, but like you're saying, you're being aware of if something happens in their life that's major, that you're still reaching out and kind of building that relationship.
Yeah, that's the thing I try to do. Like if I see somebody had a baby, like I'll send them a card or something off their. I do kind of stalk people's registries. I'll say that. Like, if I'm not invited to the wedding, I don't care. I'm gonna find your registry and send you something. If I'm not invited to the baby shower, it's okay. I'm gonna find your registry. Like, so I do send people stuff on the regular
Really?
all the time.
That
Like,
is so
I've done
funny.
it 3 times this week.
I've done it 3 times this week. That's so funny. So what put that in you? Like, how did you become that gal? Because my birthday was last month. I'm joking.
I'm offended.
Sorry. I don't know. I think it's with Facebook. Everybody has pictures now of everything. And so even if you're not invited to something, you feel like you're part of, you know,
yeah.
it's going on. You know, so like, I have some clients that are getting married October 1st. They obviously didn't invite me to their wedding shower, but I want to send, like, for their closing gift, I gave them a Target gift card because I knew, I saw they were registered at Target.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for their wedding, like, I will go back and look after the wedding and see if there's anything that didn't get purchased
Mm-hmm.
and send it. You know, just, I don't know, just something I do.
I know.
I got a question.
I think it's really nice.
I think it's classic.
Yeah, I do too.
Are you still using Excel or do you
I
use
use Google Drive now, Google Sheets, Google Sheets, yeah. So pretty much the same, but I can get it on my phone, and so I can update it easier. And then it's so, like, people will be like, oh, I wish I had such and such's address, and I'm like, no, I haven't, you know, like,
Yeah.
and I have it organized.
So is it in a Google Sheet in your drive, you mean?
Yes.
Okay. I like
So
that.
it's one that's clients, one that's church. So, you know, like in February, I do like something, I love your, thank you for your bid, or something, I don't know, you're the heart of my business is what it says. So I only send that to my clients. So I have a client page, I have a church page, I have people that I added like just for our wedding, which that was kind of separate. And then I have like other, so people that I didn't meet them through church or work, they're just on this other tab. And then like recently, people that even don't live here have asked to be added. Like one of my friends that I've reconnected, we're about to have our 20th high school reunion. And she's in marketing and in Vegas, and she was like, can you add me? She wants to see what I send. And so like she's in the other tab, and I send her football schedule, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she wanted to see it.
So you said that you send out something for Valentine's Day. How many times do you actually touch your database a year?
Through the mail, so
Or
I
anyway,
do.
I mean, if there's other forms, but
Well, I try to do mail, and mostly things with magnets. Like I have clients send me videos all the time, like you're taking over my fridge, and
she sent me
it'll-
some, and they really are funny.
and
I
they'll
mean,
just video their whole fridge, and like they don't throw them away. Like Brian Sticker collects the Astros schedules, and okay, so I do Valentine's just to my clients, and then spring I do time change and Astros
to everyone.
schedules, and then I kind of take the summer off and make some more money. And then in the fall, because I used to do like seed packets and stuff, I'm like, I feel like people are throwing those away. Like I was just trying to do things that people would keep or put on their fridge or something. The time change postcards, I know those get thrown away, but I've always done them, and I hate
Yeah,
to
I think it's still
not do them.
informative.
I have one client that complained, but
Is the time changing this year?
I don't think it is.
November 4th.
Yeah, it is this year, but this will be the last year.
Oh, good. Then I can stop doing those, and it'll be organic.
So do you gauge in any way the responses that you
I
get?
thought it was already gone away with
No, they'll spring forward next year.
From the stuff I
Yeah, like do you
That's
edit
not-
what you send out depending on the responses that you get? I mean, like, or how much feedback you get?
I mean, mostly it's just a lot of old people call if they did not get their Astros.
Oh,
They love those. So it'll
That's
be
cute.
like
I love
people
that.
on the church list, I guess, that I don't know. And if they've moved or gone to assisted living or whatever and they don't get there, they will track down my phone number and call me. And
I love that.
so I always get extras of those. So several. I keep the voicemails. There's some ladies I cannot understand her name at all, but there was 2 of them on the phone, and they left me a long voicemail about how much they love the Astros Commanders. Anyway, I don't love football, but I'm like, it's another chance to be on the fridge, and it probably meets a different set of people than maybe, I don't know, it might be the same dudes. But,
Do you do
So
Texans or Cowboys?
well, I did both
I
this
know,
year.
I saw that. Yeah, I forget.
'Cause, I mean, Blake is like diehard Cowboys, and
my boy.
I just picked, and it didn't say like choice number 1, choice number 2, so I didn't know which was going to be on top.
Yeah.
I mean, he lost his mind that the Texans were on top. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, technically they're like closer to us, but so yeah, I do those in the fall, time change in the fall, and then I do the pies for Thanksgiving. So I email everybody that bought, and they come here and pick up
Oh,
a
yes.
pie.
And that's through the
Yes.
meals services?
Nutrition services for seniors.
Which is nice because it's a double, I mean, you know, you're taking care of your clients and benefiting the community.
And then pretty much in October, I have to start working on Christmas cards because I send out a lot and I try to handwrite them. It takes me forever. And like the thing that takes me the longest, because I try, like if the front, I'm like, the such and such family. Then on the card, I want to be like, the name, and the 47 kids' names, you know. And so then I'm like scrolling back through Facebook. Like usually I'm good about writing them out to the side, but some people I don't have their kids' names, and so I'm like going back through all these posts trying to find where they, you know, because how do you spell Margot correctly? You know what I mean? Like it's not at all how you think it
Especially
would
in
be
Southeast
spelled.
Texas,
yes,
where we want an EAU
but she's
accent.
from
Yeah.
she's from Louisiana,
Yeah.
so I knew I was going to make that. So yeah, that takes me the longest, like looking for the kids' names. But
So when you do that, do you then add that to your Google Drive as
Yes.
well so that you keep that information good?
Yes.
Yeah, no.
yes.
That's great.
So, and I'm trying to get better about looking them up at closing so that they're already there at Christmas, so I'm not spending so much time at Christmas. Some people probably get their cards closer to New Year's, but
How many cards is that about that goes out then?
there's 500 something people.
Wow, handwritten. That's pretty awesome.
Well, I've started, the church people that I don't know, they get a label. Like, I'm sorry for
Yeah.
you. But
But still, I mean, even if you're doing 75% of that or whatnot, that's a good bit of handwritten cards. Yeah.
I mean,
How many did you say?
about 500
there's-
cards.
there's over 500 on my total list. I think I did 300 handwritten last year and 200 something labels. And I've started, because I used to just get like blank cards and like write a novel, and I'm like, I just don't have that much time. So the people that like, if it's their first Christmas in their new house, I'm gonna say something. If they've just had a baby, I'm gonna write. If it's their first Merry Christmas, I'm gonna write them something. If they've been in the same house for 10 years and I haven't talked to them in 8, they're probably getting a pre-written Merry Christmas card. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I've had to start trying to like
Yeah.
expedite because I just got so
Efficiency.
many. Yes, but I mean, I kind of have it down to an art. I just camped out for a while.
So the system that you have and the touches that you make, how long have you had that going, or when did you start that consistently?
I mean, I started doing time change postcards in Dallas. And then for a while, I mean, I tried different things. For a while, I tried to do like a postcard every month, and then because postcard, stamps are cheaper. But I'm like, they're just getting thrown away. So I'm like, I've got to do something that'll stay. So I bought, kitchen conversion magnets. I did that as like a big mail out one time. So every once in a while, I switch it up. But I've been doing the time change Astros football for a while.
Did you ever form neighborhoods, or do you just specifically like to send it to your database?
No, I've always just done my people.
And how long did you have to invest or commit to it before you started seeing any kind of a return or a engagement, I guess? I mean, response to it? Because I know that's a little bit of a commitment before you really start seeing.
I think once people started realizing she's going to send me an Astros thing every year, then they start expecting it. And then if they don't get it, they're like, hey. So I feel like, I mean, that was maybe 2 to 3 years in. It didn't take long for people to be like, oh, this is a thing she does.
Yeah. Do you ever have to make, or do you decide to make any phone calls, or is it just primarily mail that you're reaching out to them?
Primarily mail. I'll text people randomly. I love Facebook. I mean, I'm just a big Facebook fan. I know it's very antiquated. I don't have the Instagram or the Twitter. I don't have anything else.
Twitter.
I just love Facebook. So I probably spend too much time on there, but I just try to stay engaged with people, what's going on in the community. sharing events, you know, connecting different people. If somebody needs this and this person has it, like, I don't know. I just love it.
It is funny the amount of connection that you get off that, or that you feel like you know somebody that you've never met. I've met people with their husbands, and I'm like, hey, and I have to realize he doesn't know me
Right,
at all.
yeah.
Like, we've never met each other in person, like, you know, just because I see him on Facebook on their family
Yeah.
pictures. Yeah,
Exactly.
it's so family. So have you tried anything that has really just fell flat or blown up and not gone good? And you're like, yeah, that was a mistake.
The seed packets. I mean, I had like one girl that was like, oh, she tagged me on Facebook. You know, my kid, we planted these today, and everybody else. I mean, they're so hard to run through the mail thing, and I don't. I
Yeah.
probably won't do that.
It's
ever
funny how
again.
something little like that sounds like a good idea can be
It's still
actually
like-
something like that too one time, and it was
I
funny.
mailed suckers one time.
Oh dear.
And
It was
I
a-
had no
Oh,
idea
God.
that the postage on them was $1.20. The suckers didn't even cost $1.20.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Put it in their mailbox.
Isn't
So
that
it
funny?
was like, and I mailed like 200 and something of them, but I had already gotten them, put the suckers on, all of them,
geez.
and the whole 9 yards. And so, I mean, it was one of those things you learn from.
Yeah.
You just don't do that again.
Whenever I start something new, I do one, and I take it
Was
to the
it
post
200?
office and ask how many stamps.
That is brilliant.
That is really smart, actually.
Because I'm not going to do the rest of them if it's going to be, you know, too
Yeah.
much money.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea. So, have you ever had any times in doing something or committing to it that you thought, okay, I think I'm going to give up, and then decided not to, and it ended up paying off? Or?
Like junior league.
I mean, it could be that just kind of activities as well.
I mean, yeah, I didn't like junior league very much. But I like to volunteer.
Mm-hmm.
I did finally get one client from it, and now she's involved in a very fun lawsuit. So that yeah, didn't really pay off.
I heard Joe in the hallway. So is it that it just didn't feel authentic to you necessarily? Like that
Yeah,
kind of
I mean,
thing?
I just felt like the group, they kind of all knew each other. I definitely felt like an outsider. I mean, it's not like they're all, you know, rich people that don't work. Like, that was kind of their perception I had. That's not true. I mean, they have jobs. I mean, you were in junior league, but I mean, I just never really meshed with anybody.
I mean, I did junior league when I was like 22 years old. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, and everybody in it was my age. So you kind of grew to know each other over the years. I think when you did it, that was probably the genre of people that were in it were a lot younger than you and I. I'm assuming we're close in age. And I think you have to, I mean, I don't know, like you can comment, but I think you would agree with this. Like, you pick things that are people that you feel like you have a lot in common with.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like you felt like you had a lot in common with those people when you joined. And that's one way to say it, but I also believe, and I think what you were trying to do was like branch out and meet new people. And there's something to be said for that too. But you have to feel natural about it.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to feel good about it. Like, you can't walk into a group, like I felt that way about YPO.
Yeah.
Like, I'm almost 40 and here I am at 35, 36 joining YPO with 3 kids. Like, most of the people in there were unmarried. with no kids.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't find common ground. And so I quickly quit doing that. Because for very similar reasons to probably how you felt. She didn't find a lot of common ground with the people in it.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
It finally started feeling good, like when I started cheering Abolish, because I was interested in Harvest House and what they were doing, and I really connected with the volunteer coordinator there.
Yeah.
And then I had a committee, and so like our meetings were good because it was like we're all there to work on the same thing, and like.
Yeah.
But like the general meetings, I was like, well, I still don't know anybody else. But then it was like I was almost sad to leave because then I finally started making friends.
Yeah.
You know, like I made friends with a girl that I went to high school with. I forgot I went to high school with her. Like I said something about my 20-year reunion's coming up. She was like, oh yeah, we went to school together. Cool.
How long did you do it?
I did the whole 10 years. And but now, like, she owns a boutique and I buy stuff from her all the time and she sends me business. So, I mean, like, I guess that would be worth it. But it just sucks that it took 9 years to make some good relationships, you know? So,
Yeah.
whatever.
But that does say something about consistency.
Absolutely.
You didn't quit.
True.
You know, it did eventually pay off.
did.
Yeah.
It may be painful for
It
the
was
first
painful.
half decade, but
Well, and I think that's a really good point, like what she's saying, because relationships aren't something you're going to build the first year or two you try doing it. Like, unless you have a ton of super common ground. You know what I mean? And quick rapport.
Yeah.
Which can happen with kids or with coworkers or with something that you really have common ground with. But if you're trying to make a relationship with a stranger, it is going to take 9 to 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't y'all agree?
I mean, yeah, it was
in almost
definitely
anything you
year
do.
9. We were leaving a committee meeting. I think it was before you got on the committee, so the year before, I guess. And I was like driving home, and I'm like, oh, that went well. And then one of the girls from the committee called me, and I'm like, oh gosh, she probably left something at Harvey's house. She was like, hey, are you behind me? Do you want to go get a glass of wine? And I mean, I almost started crying. I'm like, this is the first time like somebody from the league has A, had my phone number, and B, like reached out and like wanted to hang out with me. I was like, oh my goch, like I made it. Yeah.
Made it.
And we went to JW, well, first went to Jay Wilson's, but they were closed, so it must have been Monday. So we went to JW's patio, and we had like wine, and there was like other people there we knew. I'm like,
You're like, this is the best day ever.
I went home and woke Blake up. I'm like, oh my gosh, guess what just happened to me? Someone asked me to hang out. A girl.
I love you. You make me laugh so much. I love it. Okay, so what would be a piece of advice that you would give to somebody just starting out with forming their database or trying to build those relationships? Because I know a lot of times it can be overwhelming, you know, of who do I put on a list? Why, you know, how many is...
Yeah. I mean, definitely the people, I mean, start with your family, obviously.
Sometimes.
I mean, most people have larger families than I do, so I feel like Tammy, her first year, like, she sold like 10 houses to her family. I mean, she was like killing it because she knows like her whole family bought a house, and
They're all waiting for her.
yes. And then I've recently started doing, like, I get a massage every 6 weeks. Why don't I have her on there? So I added her, you know, and I sent her a Christmas card, and I'm like, thank you for helping me relax all year long. You know what I mean? Like, so people, there are
I love
people
that.
that you give them business all year long. Like, why don't you send them stuff? You know, so... And I realized recently there's people at the chiropractor office that know my name that I have no clue who they are.
Going
And
in
I'm
the
like,
list.
oh, because I've started spamming them, you know? So, stuff like that, like places you go, like regularly. I go there once a month, and every time it's new people, and they always know my name, and some of them have my chart, some of them don't. So I know some of them just know my name, which is always impressive. And like if you go to church or junior league or whatever you're involved in, but then you have to keep it up. You know, you got to pay attention if someone passes away or whatever, or if it's rented. You know, like I keep all my investors' houses on there, and I just put current resident because I know it's a rental, but hopefully they'll buy something one day. That hasn't happened yet, but maybe one day. You know, so just like if you had a invitation list for your wedding, put those people on there, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the people that love you and care about you and want to support you.
It's a database.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. A list of relationships, you know. Love it. Were you wanting to ask something about her current husband, or you want to hear something?
The progression of the, you know, we were at the X.
How'd you meet?
How did that happen? Yeah.
Where'd we go from
I
there?
know you wanted to
Hurricane
hear
Harvey.
it.
So when Harvey happened, I mean, I had been on and off every dating website so we got divorced in 4 years, and I hadn't really dated anybody. And so I'd let the memberships lapse or whatever. I wouldn't pay for them. And then when Harvey happened, I mean, I was working my ass off for her, y'all. I mean, like 24/7. I mean, I did nothing except work for 4 years. And
Very appreciated.
when Harvey happened, like, it's the first time I found myself like sitting on the couch, like, well, I can't really do anything. I mean, like, I was delivering water, but I mean, like, the day it happened, you know, I couldn't really do anything. And so I got back on some of the free ones, the Plenty of Fish app. And there was his little smiling face in my inbox. And I verified that it said he was Baptist. And
Is that really one of the most rewarding pictures?
oh yeah, like I mean, I've been going to this church for this long with my
I'm not giving up
grandparents.
now.
Yeah, I'm not switching churches, and I'm not gonna make somebody
I
else
love it.
switch
That's
religions.
awesome.
So we're just gonna bend the herd.
I love that.
Said he was
your
Baptist.
conviction. Like, I think it's
So we started messaging, and I sent him pictures of the bathroom I had remodeled at my other grandma's house because he said he was in construction. I'm like, oh yeah, well, I just remodeled this bathroom. And so we started talking, and he would not meet me. Like, I mean, wouldn't ever commit to doing anything. And I'm like, what the heck? Because I'd be like, me and Tammy are out at wherever, Wheelhouse, or we're at this place, and he would never come, y'all. I'm like, oh my gosh, I think he doesn't really like me. Okay, then
Catfished.
this is the bad part. So on this thing, I could see that his name was Blake and his last initial was M, and that I think I could see how old he was, and he was a youngin'. And oh, and it said he was from Silsbee, and so we had a girl working at the office, and so I walk in there, and I'm like, Lauren, do you know someone, Blake, his last name starts with an M, he went to Silsbee, I think he's like your age. She's like, oh my God, Blake Moss, he broke my heart. I'm like,
oh my God.
and I'm like,
You're like, that's not him. That's not
No,
the right one. Sorry.
Ian, I'm in Ian.
well, and at this
Yeah.
point, like, I like weigh like 200 pounds, and she's like this, and so I'm like, if he liked her, like, he's not gonna like me. Like, this is not translating. And I was just like, oh my God. And so me and Lauren like take a selfie and like send it to him, and I'm like, what is going on? And I'm like, this is just not happening. And then me and Lissa like went out and watched the Astros one night, and I'm like wearing that wig I got from somebody's bachelorette party, Casey's sister, and we did the wig play. Okay, I mean, I'm sending him all these ridiculous pictures, and I'm like, he will not meet us. And so finally,
Go figure.
he came, was that when he finally? No, it was like a month. He did finally come there. Yeah, but the first time I met him, so I found out later he had recently gotten a DWI or whatever it's called, and that's why he wasn't drinking and didn't want me to sit here. And I was like trying to pressure him. I mean, I kept sending him pictures of like alcohol like everywhere I went, and I'm like, anyway, honesty is a better
Good.
policy.
He's got strong convictions.
You're
He
so
doesn't want to go.
funny.
He doesn't want to go to
He
jail.
wasn't going to do it twice.
Yeah. So we had been like messaging or texting or whatever for like a month, and finally on October 26th of 2019, he was like, do you want to meet me at Thirsties? And I'm like, oh gross, okay. And I'm like, well, it's really close to my house. So I find out it's because he knows the bartender, so she's like watching us.
Who's the one?
Was it
One of his friends,
Christina?
Caroline.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm like sending people like, what should I wear? So I'm like wearing these like ripped jeans. I mean, I don't even wear ripped jeans. I was like trying so hard. I mean, it
That's
was.
so funny.
But anyway, so I finally met him at Thirsties, and we had a lovely time. And
Lived happily ever after.
yes, biggest shock of all time.
Aw.
Yeah,
Y'all are so
And
cute
they're so
together
cute.
too. They are, yeah. Y'all are so cute.
he's so young, but it's okay.
That is good.
You
Don't
go,
marry
girl.
somebody younger if you can.
I
Otherwise,
did.
you're going to be taken care of.
Oh yeah, I'm not doing that.
Now
I
you're
just
telling
keep
me.
telling him to slip me something if I ever can't, you know, if I need diapers or anything, just slip me something. Like, because we're like going through all this with like my grandparents and their friends, and I'm like, I don't want to deal with that, so just take me out.
You're so silly.
Can
So-
you talk about the fact that until you moved to Remax, you'd never been able to list property? You've been
Oh, yes.
had your little wings
Same.
clipped.
Yes. Well, I mean, I had
She
previously.
said same.
But yes,
Oh.
when her team is structured, I don't know how it is now, but she has buyer's agents, and so that's all I did for 7 years was buyers, and yeah, so I mean, that was an adjustment for sure, like coming back here and like, okay, how do I do a listing again? Because it had been
So crazy.
7 years, and like, I don't know, it's just, I mean, you feel like you're starting from like
Yeah.
that was pretty overwhelming. Like, okay, who's gonna be our photographer and who's gonna, stuff you haven't
Yeah.
done in 7 years. Like,
When you were in it, do you think that you couldn't even imagine how that was going to feel being out of it because you had been in it for so long?
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? 'Cause
I mean, I
feel that
knew
about
it wasn't right, and that's what I mean. She wanted me gone as much as I wanted to be gone, I think, but because I just kept telling people like, this is not how it's supposed to be. Like, you're not supposed to.
While you're
be-
training them.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Get away,
get away. You go. I'm like,
Megan, did it affect the way that you did any of your marketing, like having to go through that transition in the things that you were mailing out or communicating with your database to let them know, like, hey, you can list now, or were they pretty much just ready for you to list
That's a good
because they
question.
already trusted you?
She's always got the good question too.
Yeah, when I left, I did send out a postcard. I'm back at Remax where I started, and I think in there somewhere I did mention, like, I can also have you list your property as well. But I mean, honestly, I was scared, and so I wasn't like, who wants to list their house? I'm like, let's just take. I mean, I wanted a break when I came here. I mean, I was burnt out. I had just been like driven into the ground. I wanted a break, and I got it, and I got married, and I like got my life in order. Yes, and so I think that having the time to figure it out slowly was good. Like, if I would have come over and the next day had a listing, I would have freaked out. Like, I couldn't have handled it. But I think since I took a step back and I was able to slowly figure out, okay, this is what I'm going to do for this. I'm gonna order signs because I mean I haven't had signs in 7 like they didn't fit in my trunk. Like one of the reasons I got a new car. I mean like yes. So I think that I was able to do it slowly helped. So by the time I got one, I was ready. And I'm like, okay, I can do this. And I think my first one when I came back was someone that didn't really speak English, so it was kind of like I didn't have to do too much talking, so that was kind of like I didn't bring a presentation or anything. Like, I brought comps, and I kind of showed him the numbers because there wasn't a lot. He's from Turkey. I had sold him the house, and I mean they were on their way out. I mean, it was like, we got to get this done. So there wasn't too much of a I have to convince you to hire me thing, and that's been good too. Like,
so someone that had been in your database then since you
yes,
sold them?
yes.
I love that.
And so that's the thing, like, since I've been here, I'm not getting these random, like, she was, sending us realtor.com and all these random leads. Like, so I don't really meet with people I don't know anymore. Like, if it's someone I don't know, it's because someone I do know referred them to me. Like, I don't just have random clients anymore. Like, it's just either people I know and I've worked with before, or I know them already personally, or they've been a referral.
So when you were over
If they're a
there,
problem, you can fire them.
Yes.
That's really nice.
yeah. Was it why you couldn't do that over there? Is that what you're
Oh,
saying?
no.
So
Wow.
was that something that was like frowned upon, or was it okay for you? Was she okay with you guys sending out your own stuff to your database and things like that, or did she want to control that? I know that
I'm sure she
good at
wanted
that,
to
but-
control it, but I did my own thing.
Yeah. So what percentage of your business would you say is repeat and referral about in your mind?
100%.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I don't pay
Lead
for any
sources,
lead.
yeah.
I mean, yeah. Yeah.
So
Covering it very slowly.
that's so funny. So who has been your greatest influence with business or in business?
Oh gosh. I mean, I'd say I learned most everything I knew in the beginning, like aside from mandatory classes now, from Taryn. I mean, when I worked for her, she would make me drive her around and she would quiz me. I mean, like crazy. I mean, but I passed my test on the first try. I mean, like I feel like I knew everything before I even took the test because I had worked for so many people already. You know what I mean? Like all these people that are like, I mean, even in my classes at Baylor, like, I mean, they were just like easy. Everything was just easier because I had already been like immersed in it for so long. Like, it was just like I already kind of knew what to do, you know? And so it just made things a lot easier. I mean, I just been around it. Like, and that's why I just feel like people need to start on a team and just kind of work their way up. Like, I just don't know how people just wake up one day and like, I'm gonna be a realtor and I don't know who I'm gonna learn from, but I'm just gonna figure it out, you know? Like, that would stress me out, like, so bad. Like, I mean, I feel like I literally started, like, the receptionist level and, like, worked my way up. And not that everybody needs to start as a receptionist, but, like, on a team, at least, so someone is guiding you, but not a bad team, but a good team.
I feel like you just needed that mentorship.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what do you feel like is your greatest strength in business?
I'm very organized.
Sparkling personality.
Oh.
Her wit.
Thanks, Kristen.
Yeah,
Her
her
wit.
wit, yeah.
Her wit.
Sarcasm.
Definitely have some of that.
She puts every minute of every day on her calendar.
Do you really?
Oh, yeah.
Kristen, you love that.
Oh,
You didn't
yeah.
already. So is that something you've always done too, or?
I don't know. It probably started with an iPhone. I mean, I used to have like a Palm Centro. I don't think that thing had a calendar. But when I got an iPhone, well, I mean, I did it like in Baylor. Like, I had a paper calendar. That was my favorite thing, to go to the bookstore and buy the calendar. And like, I would get all my syllabuses for all my classes and put all my tests on. And when people change the schedule, like, it irritates me. But now, I mean, ever since I pretty much just put everything in my phone. And I look at it the night before, and I like set alarms for different things. But I try not to look at it until the night before, because I can get overwhelmed if I look too far. Like, I try to just do like one day at a time. So then I have to put a few days before, like if there's something I need to do for this, like I schedule it a couple days before, because I'm not going to look until the night before to see what's, you know.
Yeah. So what does your normal day look like?
Oh gosh. I don't have it with me.
I wanted to give you mine, like here.
I mean, today was light, like sales meeting, and I went home for a little while. I got a referral from somebody I know, and so I called that person and talked to them for a really long time. Like this, I have a showing in Lumberton after yeah, pretty soon. I have a showing in Lumberton, and we eat dinner at church at 5:15, and I have choir practice at 6:30. So I don't know, just like normal stuff.
Do you have any certain amount of time, whether it is daily, weekly, monthly, whatever, that is invested specifically to your database, or do you just have those certain times that you know that you're sending stuff out, like months of the year? Like
Yes, so when I know the next thing will be the time change postcards. So like I have in my calendar the day I need to mail them out, and so then a week before that I have like you need to start working on. And so then that week I'll pick when I have like a big block, and I'll just do them.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what is one area of your business that you would like to improve on?
Oh gosh.
Ask everybody that.
I'm still not great with like strangers and junior league and new environments. I just get I get very nervous, and it's so weird to me because I do like things like sing at church, and I don't get nervous. But
Beautifully,
like,
by the way.
if I go into a room with people I don't know, I'm gonna freak out and not talk to anybody. Like. And it's just weird. Like, I don't know. It's very strange because, like, I'm very talkative, obviously.
Yeah.
But,
Well, that's
I
why
want
it's
to
so
get
fun to
better.
get you
like,
up here because, like she said, taking you out, you and Liz out for drinks or getting to talk to you. You are very open and funny and fun to talk to whenever you get to have that one-on-one time. And I love for anybody to get to hear your stories and to get to know you a little bit better because she cracks me up anytime. But we love you.
Thanks for listening for all this time, y'all.
It was fun.
So how far in are you? Last question, but how long have you been doing this again, you said?
So I've had my license for 16 years. But
So-
I started working when I was 16, so whatever, 38 minus 16. So I'm not really good at
So
math.
what would Megan now, 16 years in, what's one piece of advice that you would give yourself, Megan, as a rookie Megan?
I mean, just to keep going. Like, I mean, there was so many chances that I could have quit, probably should have quit, but I didn't. And, like, I'm just so happy, like, that I didn't because, I mean, I knew I could do it, you know, but until you have to do it, like, I don't know, like, I just always think, which I mean, I think about my ex so much, but if you would have made me quit, I'm like, dude, like, I probably made more money than you now, you know?
I would put that on the Christmas card.
Right, yes.
I'm sure she doesn't mail for Christmas.
I definitely don't mail him a Christmas card.
I would with that on it though.
Yeah. But I don't. I'm proud of myself that I didn't ever quit because it's what I've always wanted to do. I mean, since I was in high school, and I'm glad I stuck with it, and I hope I can for not as long as Hester has, but
Maybe.
Well, thank you so much for sitting with us. I think that you're awesome, and I just love that you came and talked to us today. But yay!